Thanks, Manoj, and it's always good to interact with all of you. But it's always a problematic scenario for cinematographers to be, expounding and talking about things because I always maintain that we are, let's say, the doers, not the talkers on the show. I'll just go back to where the theme kind of originated and then talk about that a bit and then let everybody speak about their experience with it. And what's been happening over the oh, decades for me, has been that, I feel now in retrospect that it's just been an onslaught. There was a slow phase and then there's been an onslaught of this technological innovation and change and stuff being thrown at us kind of thing. And ever since, of course, digital cinematography began, then every 3 years there's some new product, or every 6 months actually there's some upgrade or some product being thrown at you. And I was trying to wrap my head around this, that how it has impacted our work, or has it really? That is the thought that I was grappling with when we said, okay, let's talk about technology and let's talk about what we are really about. So in my mind, which again now goes back a long way, where you started with AE2Cs and we worked with film and we struggled to work with film in our own conditions and we tried to make it work for long years. Suddenly there was a big quantum shift when digital cinematography came. Digital cinematography also came in with a little bit of a burp and a bit of a, when the red one came and I took it out on the streets and I said, okay, this is 320 ISO and it's, you can push it a little in post and it'll. When I took it out on the streets of Bombay and did my first night test shoot with it, I knew that was not the solution. So I had to go back to finding solutions within film at that point in time. So I would say the game changer would be the Alexa cameras, the Log C, and then from there on the journey of the digital cinematography. Now, journey of the digital cinematography is also now every 2-3 years assaulting us with newer products and newer, how should I say, bits, bytes and nits, whatever way you want to quantify it. But my question still remains that is it really changed the game that much? Or are we still looking at things pretty much in the same way? That is, in my mind, still the question. And for me, actually, it is when you're accosted with so much data, let's say, you actually need to sit back and reflect a bit and think about what your images are actually going to mean or how they're going to play for the film. And that sometimes gets lost in this process of dealing with, that booth and that booth. So that's the conversation that I want to have with all the young DPs around me. I want to start with Dipti. Actually, before I go there, let me also recall for you guys 2 conversations that went on in the process of my growing years. One was when post-Avatar, I think it was, when Avatar came out, and Avatar was a great film. I mean, no question about it, and 3D became, suddenly everybody looked at 3D as the next big thing that's going to happen. And I remember I was traveling at that time and I read in the New Yorker magazine, I read a long piece on 3D. And that long piece was actually reflecting on how the game at the cinema theaters might change forever. That at least 80-90% of the films that we watch are going to be 3D from here. And this was the New Yorker magazine. Well researched article, well thought out and well written. So I remember reading it and thinking, अभी हम लोग क्या करेंगे? मतलब, do I have to recalibrate my life? And I, in my head at that time, said, no, maybe not, because 3D films have been there before. We've had a Chota Chetan and we've been through that cycle before, and maybe this is one more of those cycles. And now, in hindsight, I can probably say that maybe that's how it played out, because everything didn't go the 3D route. Then one more small incident was, I was at Goa airport and IFFI had just gotten over. So I was not there for the IFFI, I was taking a flight back. And there were some young people sitting behind me talking about VP. No, sorry, not VP. VR, virtual reality. And virtual reality had just come in, some films were made around it, and some shows were thing, and those headsets had come into the market. And there was lots of talk about how now most of the content will go the virtual reality mode. And these young people were really excited with it. And I was listening very keenly to them because it was like a change of mindset. Because now you're not going to watch films in the same way ever again. It's like the viewer is going to dictate how you watch this image and the story play out or the drama play out. Because you're going to be able to control how you look at it. Then I sat down to think, oh, now is it over finally? Now it's all going to be virtual reality from here on. So is it now time to call it quits? And that virtual reality cycle also, then Inarritu was making a film in virtual reality. It was going ballistic at that time. And I was thinking to myself, will this also be like a niche in cinema, or will this change the way we view it, our viewing experience? Or everybody's going to wear this headset and then watch the film, and the sound aspect of it and everything. It became a whole new exploration. It became a whole new way of looking at how you would create images and put in the sound to make the cinematic experience for virtual reality. That cycle was even shorter lived than 3D. So my question broadly is that what has changed? It's been 30 years of huge innovations, of lots of technology being thrown at us from all around. Back to the same point, I'm going to hand the mic over. Dipti's been working with documentary for a long time, and that's another very how should I say it? Both a personal and a very intense way of looking at things and making movies. So she made a film which was called City of Photos long ago, which has still remained in my mind, and that was a structured piece. It was a formal piece. It was not documentary as we know it. She shot that on tape. And then recently she shot another documentary called Shut Up Sona. That was digital. So she has grown up with this, dealing with this technology, but I'm sure she grapples with it very differently from the way we do. The guys, who make feature films and or shoot dramas and that kind of thing. So let's start with Dipti first, and then we'll take it down the line.
Right. So, thanks Anil for putting that perspective on everything, because you said you want to start with the youngest, but I'm not the youngest, I must tell you.